Right then, how's it going, guys? So we're back in the brewery, going to be doing a brew day today. This brew day is about 3 weeks delayed due to some unforeseen circumstances. That being the contents of my plate chart was fucking gross, and my sight glass that I normally have on my HLT, well, that was a little bit leaky, and it fucked me off enough that I called it quits. So I've ended up ordering a new sight glass, which has already arrived, but I need to increase the hole for it. So currently it's running on about a 1/4 inch hole. So the new sight glass needs a 1/2 inch hole put in. So rather than deal with that, I just got a hex nut to block up the hole, and I've marked up my old sight glass with some little notches so I can keep track of the water levels in there. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be brewing the Vacant gesture. Now, I have not purchased the recipe off of Harrison's Brewery for the Vacant gesture. You can do that, it is £3 on their website. I actually have had this recipe for quite a while, and spent time, before he released the recipe, spent time like listening to all of the Vacant gesture Brewday videos, and actually worked out how to scale it down from his 500 litre kit down to my own. So I'm not going to be giving people out my version of it, just because I wouldn't want to be directing you down the wrong path with regards to the recipe. If you're trying to truly replicate Harry's, I suggest you either purchase the recipe off of his website, or you know, do what I did and you know, go for his back catalogue. So we are bringing the water up to temp, and I'm just about to pour out the grains. So let's get cracking. So I'm actually about 60 grams short on low colour pale. I could have sworn I had a little bit more in my last brew, so we're going to just be running a little bit lighter than intended. So obviously you've got to take that into account with regards to the final gravity and bits and pieces today. Doesn't concern me that much, really. Should have really taken that out. I think providing we you know, get the gist of it, it should all be okay. Something I will say about the Vacant gesture is that the mash bill is, you know, relatively simple. You know, low colour, pale malt, wheat and kava, or you know, extremely low colour crystal. So try and distribute that a little bit, and we'll just wait for everything to be brought up to temp. Okay, so we have come up to temp 73 to 74 degrees. We're going to be underletting now, and the intention is to have a mash temp of around 66 degrees. I have been recirculating the HLT, so shouldn't be having the same issues that we had last time. So fingers crossed everything goes well. Let's get ourselves hooked up, and let's see how this all goes. I'll be starting the mash in with about 10 litres of water, but effectively enough to cover all of the grains. So let's give this a go. Actually, let's give this a temperature check. .9. 64 over there. 67, 68 there, and 67 over there. So I'll give this a bit more of a stir to get the grains accounted for. Let's pop that lid on and start the clock. So here we have my new sight glass, all 21 inches of it. Only thing I'm a little bit concerned with is the actual material of the sight glass. So it's clearly a plastic. It is a China jobby, so you know, maybe not the best of materials always used. And I just thought, well, you know what, before I install it, making more holes and bits and pieces, while I've got some hot old water in the HLT, I'm going to give it a dip and see what happens. So let's give it a go. We've got some water sitting at around, oh, smoking. Now, so the water is about what was it, 74 degrees right now, which is pretty much as hot as it's going to need to go for the HLT. It's just been in there for a bit, and I'm just going to see how malleable it is. Oh, no, I am, so just at the tip is a little bit softer, but overall I think actually my concerns were not valid. So I'm just going to leave it in there for a little bit longer, not directly next to the element, but you see how this goes. Okay, so we have been mashing for about 45 minutes. I'm about to start the roll off. I'm just going to do a check on our temperature in here, see what the loss is. So I don't know if you can't see that from there. So apparently the loss over there is down to 62. That one's still at 64. I wonder if I can, can you read that? Probably not. In there we are looking at 63. In there we are looking at 64. So not too bad regarding heat lossage or heat loss. So I'm just going to open up the pump. We're not going to go too crazy with the speed of the roll off, and we're only going to be running it for maybe about 15 minutes. Let's move the foil so we make sure that we are hitting it on there, and cover this. Cover that over. Okay, so we're just about to start our sparge. All temperatures look to be good. Roll off seem to have gone well. You can see I've hooked up my HLT to come in through the side of the mash tun SS Brewtech there. then using the other pump to use the inlet of my mash tun, basically to make sure that there are no air bubbles in there, so that we don't have any issues later when it comes to cooling and circulating out. So, which has happened in the past. So let's get cracking. So something that you might have been noticing I do is I spend quite a bit of time with my hands actually in the mash tun when sparging and controlling the valves on the two pumps. So with my mash tun, I just have a it claims to be a sparge arm, but doesn't really act like much of one, in that it only drips in one place at the end of the tube. So I actually spend a lot of the time actually moving it about during the sparge to you know, make sure that the sparge water is hitting all of the grains, through a bit of tin foil, obviously, to make sure that we don't disturb the bed too much. I'm also spending most of the time during the sparge adjusting the flow rate between the HLT pump and the transfer pump into the boil kettle, just so that at no point we're going too much in one, not enough in the other. Try and make it as even as possible. It's just a bit of a nightmare. It doesn't always work, but you know, you do what you can. My average sparge time is about an hour. I think that's about normal for most people, but comment down below if your sparge time is shorter and still works. Let's see if we can get some shots of the sparge. And here we are, coming into the boil kettle. Okay, so we've now completed the sparge and transferred over to the boil kettle. Managed to get our 26 litres needed for the boil. Just taken a pre-boil reading, coming out at 10:22. Current temperature of the water when I measured it was at about 57. So again, calculating the bits and pieces, reckons that the gravity in there is around about 1034, 1036-ish. So after the boil, that should mean that hopefully the hydrometer reading will be around, as I say, about 1036, and yeah, which should be spot on for our OG. So that's all good, and let's just wait for this to come up to a boil. Okay, so we've just come up to a rolling boil, and we'll do our first drop of Challenger hops, about 27.3 grams. Here we go. Set a timer for 45 minutes, and we'll then stick in the Profile Lock tablet. So, just thought I'd film this because, again, it's quite funny that I have to go on some stools to clean out my mash tun. So, here we are, mashy mash, and yep, into the old garden waste. So yeah, I've just turned off the chiller, and we're going to put in our dry hop, not dry hop, whirlpool. So that's going in there. It was meant to be about 28 grams of mosaic. I only had about 30 grams left, so all it goes in. Obviously I've got another pack of mosaic for the dry hop, but that shouldn't be an issue. Oh. Right then, we have been cooling for a while now. It is a bastard hot day, so it's really taking a while for standard room temperature water to cool this stuff down. We are currently, as we're recirculating, the temperature of the water going back into the boil kettle is at 27 degrees. So it's cool enough to go into the fermenter. It's not going to get any cooler. The actual mass of wort is coming in at around, well, it's still closer to 40. So it's a case of it's still keeping its, is it thermal mass? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to transfer into the fermenter here, and then we'll stick it in the fermentation fridge. It can really drop down in its temperature. So let's do that. Let's not forget to take a little reading. Actually, that will carry on doing that way. Empty the sanitizer out of this bucket. Sec. So I'll just leave that to one side to cool down, and we'll use that to take our reading a bit later. Open this up, getting enough aeration, dropping it from a higher height. Let's just sterilise this, give it one more temperature check. So it's still sitting at about 26 degrees, so a lot hotter than I'd want to put the yeast in with it, so into the fridge it goes. give it a little bit for the temperature to drop in there, then we'll add the yeast. It's been a couple hours and we have got down to about 19.5 C, so I'm happy to do my yeast now. Yes, I am in slippers now. It's been a long ass day, so let's just take off top USO 5. Pick up that in a sec. Let's give it a little sprinkle and get that closed up. While we're at it, we'll have a look at our sample. Where's the hydrometer? Oh. So hydrometer reading is coming in at, wow, about 1042. So that is a lot. Well, no, I think it's 1038 we normally shoot for with the old Vacant. So no, 1036. So if it's 1042, then we're 6 points above expectation. Better above than below, and considering we're not selling this, we don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, it's all good. Hopefully our volume won't be too much of an issue, and it will be good. So there is some dry hopping still to be done to the beer in about a week's time after the main fermentation has taken place. Whether or not I film that or I just throw this out or not too sure. But if this is the end, guys, for the video, you guys take it easy and I'll catch you next time.